As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound. It's a sordid, filthy tale, not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it? Some secrets are better left uncovered. Don't even try. Seriously. It occurs to you that you're not even holding the jacket itself, but rather the thick crust of jetsam and seagull shit that ensconces it. It smells like a dead sea creature, tangled in grey strands of seaweed. It must have spent quite some time in the water before the tide deposited it ashore. Why? Why did you think about it? Look at your hands. They're covered in muck. Now you're just flicking that shit everywhere. This is a disaster. You'll never get the smell out. The porter reel is just what you need. The porter reel is just what you needed. The reels, you press the large button marked Commencer, and the tape starts spinning. There's a small delay before the song starts playing. It sounds like someone's moving in the room, getting comfortable. Then the organ starts playing a simple, melancholic tune echoing in the hallway. A lone singing voice joins in, telling you about the tiniest church in Saint-Saëns, surrounded by even tinier yard. You almost feel the seaside mist on your skin. It's mega sad. Within seconds you know, this is the one, the real shit you've been looking for. The one you trust your room to that Claudia told you about. Perform it. A click, then silence for a bit. Then the tape stops spinning. Of course you could sing this. You could take sad to a whole new level with this. And you already know the lyrics since you've listened to it like 1,000,000 times. Yup, they're all here. All 3 verses. And the B-side of the tape contains the instrumental version. It's like the world itself is telling you to do it. Only one obstacle stands on your way. Gart. You have to convince Gart to let you sing karaoke in the whirling. After you've won him over, you can express yourself. Let the pain out. Make everyone understand. The lieutenant watches you pack up the boombox. He doesn't say anything.
Our tenant, the policeman, I can wash it for you, but it's going to take about a half an hour. Think you can stay put for that long?
Hell yeah. No, we must run around ceaselessly. It would be torture to stay put.
I could use a breather. It's been another track and field day.
Well, hand it over then, and I'll see what I can do. Must say, I'm proud of this one. It's pretty nice underneath all that filth. I hope you'll have an easier life in your hands.
There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh, same wiring. The reeds bend forlornly toward the sand. Some tufts have been crushed. Snow covers the broken stalks like a shroud. In the east, the city center hums to you. The constant, distant song. Louder on this part of the coast. Nearer somehow. And there's that cold again. Always the cold. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go. I meant no offense, just...
The speakers below.
Everything's still cool. Mr. Dubois, every worker, member of the board. How can I help you today? Mega rich light bending guy? Oh my god, how did that get in there? Damn it to hell, Harry. I specifically told my guys to check all the containers for mega rich light bending guys.
There was a guy in the container, but he didn't bend any light. That was in the detective's head.
Honestly, guys, we might be moving all kinds of suspicious things through this harbour, but I won't be caught transporting the light-bending mega-rich. I have a reputation to protect. No, they're not. They're vermin, and one just found a way inside my container. Soon, he'll bring the others. All 3 of them. Thank you for telling me. I'll see to this immediately. Ha ha ha! I shudder to think what you're going to tell me next, Harry.
Not for 1 second did he believe there's an actual mega-rich person somewhere in his container town. The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito, bullet holes, and an RCM.
Yes, for sending mail.
You drop the white envelope in the darkness. It lands with a soft thud on what sounds like a couple of letters. About a week's worth of mail as collected in there. They'll empty this very soon. Probably did the right thing. You can't trust that slug Everard. You know he's going to play you somehow.
All right, let's go back to Everard. If we don't mention anything to him, he won't know before it's too late.
Mr. Dubois, every worker, member of the board. The Golden Boy returns once more. Wonderful. Simply wonderful, Harry. My friend, the mailman, confirms the letter is on its way. You've done a great thing today. You've given the children of Martinez a real future, Harry, and I feel I can finally trust you now. You're in my inner circle. You too, Mr. Kitsuragi. We can talk about anything. The strike, the murder, your lost gun, nothing is off the table.
Judging from how happy he is, it looks like you did it. He doesn't appear to suspect trickery. Well done, sire. By guile and deceit, you're in. You don't know his full plan. Perhaps he expected trickery. Perhaps the signatures weren't important. The point is, do not think you're ahead of him.
Order it. You know my men didn't kill him. They told you. It was a happy accident. You know how it is. No one takes the initiative. If I wanted him dead, I would have had to do it myself. And I'm too fat for that. Glad you asked. I've got type 2 diabetes because sugar and fat was all my mother had to give me and my brother Edgar when we were kids. Good job too, as it made me ugly. And ugly people, Harry, are much better at politics.
That is true. People don't trust pretty people.
Why, a war, of course.
And what do you have to gain from a war?
Victory, Mr. Kitsuragi. I have victory to gain. We are going to start a war with the Wild Pines group and win before they even realize there is a war. I have. It's a great story, Harry. Did you also know how the bee colony kills the giant hornet? They swarm and blanket it entirely until it suffers a massive heat stroke and dies.
He crosses his hands contently, thinking of the interior temperature of the wasp rising. They cook it alive in its exoskeleton.
Harry, we outnumber them 1,500 to 1. And that's just Martinez. With all the unions in Revachol, and with public opinion on our side, we can hold off 2 men, or 15 men, or even 50 men. The more they send, the worse it's going to look for them. They made a huge mistake hiring those guys. No one likes foreign mercenaries. The leftists hate them, the fascists hate them, even the moralists think they're in bad taste. You're not an ultra-liberal, Harry. Get the fuck out of here. Don't be a retard. Harry, there is no strike, only war. Class war. Or, in business terms, a dawn raid. Or wait. Is that when you still pay them something? Because we won't do that. We're not going to give nothing. We're going to take Terminal B away from them. The roads, the gates, the containers, that big crane, even the damn coffee maker. We're going to take all of it for the people, and fuck Wild Pines.
The word fuck rings like a gunshot from his mouth. He doesn't swear often.
So that's why you haven't let Joyce in?
Yes. It's also why I let that midget Gaumont go. He's too nice. I can't put him through this. Plus, he knows how to get in here. That woman can't tell her tits from her arsehole. She has no chance. Tits from her arsehole. It's a local saying.
Actually, no, it's not.
Because we're friends, Harry. Besides, it doesn't matter now. You can go tell her if you want. It won't change the course of events. We have a significant head start. It's already happening. No idea. Could have been his own mother for all I know. If you ever find the guy, give him a big fat kiss from Everard Clare. Couldn't have done it without him.
He really doesn't know. A guy, huh?
I don't. I told you it could have been his own mother. I'm pretty sure it wasn't anyone from the Union. Maybe it was the mob. Or maybe he killed himself because he was a closet socialist. Truth is, I simply don't know.
He really doesn't.
2,372. Plus yours truly, of course.
2,373 is a sizable contingent for a labor organization in Revachol. And they're all well motivated. At least the ones you've seen.
Oh, you mean what sort of goods are going to be flowing through? How am I going to replace all the contacts we'll lose once the poo-poo hits the fan? The clients will ditch us. Harry, we've thought of everything.
Clients would take a well-known multinational conglomerate over a local mobster any day.
Sure, some will go, but mark my words. The company will be unpleasantly surprised to see how many of them stay loyal to Martinez and to the new competitive contracts we can offer. With renewed zeal sparked by communal ownership, the men will be shipping those containers double time. You'll be surprised to see how fast things go without parasites latching on. We'll have our hands free to pursue bold, exotic new revenue streams.
That's drugs.
Drug trafficking.
Drug trafficking? Don't be stupid, Mr. Kitsuragi. There are perfectly legal, 100% ethical chemical factories on the Samaran Isola. You don't need to be colonialist about it. All they do is produce components to keep the pharmaceutical industry running. That's people's health we're talking about. Old grannies, little babes, people with disabilities.
Wow, a neurochemical, psychoactive labor uprising stroke hostile takeover.
The company thinks transporting these chemicals in bulk looks bad, has bad optics, may be illegal in some countries. The Debarders Union, however, we're all about the large volume column.
In bulk shipping, large volume column is a major buyer, a shark.
We're gonna transport the living daylights out of those materials, Harry. So your sick kid can get his Benefed and your wacky uncle doesn't have to come off risperidone.
Benefed is a children's cold medicine, usually apricot flavored, and risperidone is used to treat severe psychosis.
And the kids on the street can get speed and pyrrolidone.
I'm an old-fashioned guy, Mr. Kitsuragi. I sometimes grab a beer with the boys, but I have no idea about the things you just mentioned. But if I were to supply ingredients for some sort of rainbow party, I would make sure the Union took a fantastic share. And I'd keep that stuff far away from Martinez.
He's basically admitting to it.
Harry, if I was supplying raw materials to drug manufacturers, I would need an army of rubies.
Understood.
Oh, Harry, you've misunderstood. I have no drugs in my hands. It's all far removed from me, like some half-remembered dream. Anyway, let's not focus on the sensationalism of the drug trade. This hypothetical drug trade is all anyone ever seems to be interested in. It would only be a small part of the harbour's turnover, just like the harbour is, but a small part of Martinez. Let's look at the big picture. Martinez as a whole. There are little girls out there with dreams of making music. Young mothers who want to start businesses. Models who want to walk catwalks and steel welders who want to weld steel. I'm going to unite them all into one economic body. We're going to incorporate this place to Kingdom Come. Everyone's going to be in on the wealth, and everyone's going to pull their weight.
Let's keep focusing on the drug trade. He was almost admitting to it.
No, Harry. That's boring. All right, it's gone. The hypothetical raw materials trade is off the table. It's such a small and insignificant slice of revenue, I'm cutting it. Boys. Harry felt queasy about it. We're not doing it. Can we talk about my beautiful incorporated Martinez and its many-sided business ventures now? This bold new vision of incorporated socialism I'm offering? Harry, the length you're willing to go to keep your nose clean is remarkable. You will always have a warm bed in Mr. Clare's household, my friend, and a special place in the future of Martinez. Harry, I've got to be honest with you. Your gun was found 2 days ago. Withholding this information weighed heavily on me, but it had to be done. An old woman has it, and let me tell you, Harry, word on the street is she's a character, so watch out.
This must be the woman who bought the gun from Roy. The one he described as terrifying.
Yes, the same one. I see you've done your research. The pawn shop made the gun easy to track. Crazy stuff, Harry. Selling your gun like that? Wild. Anyway...
Union Boy's gonna help you fix it. He winks at you. Don't worry, Harry.
The neighbors of this old woman contacted my men because they trust me and the Debardeurs Union. Apparently, she was waving it around at the entrance to her building.
Waving the gun around doesn't sound good. None of this does.
As I said, she's a character. I didn't have time for details. It sounds like she's unstable, but don't worry. No one got hurt.
We might be looking at someone with a medical history here. Watch out. Unstable is good, actually. She will be easier to disarm. No, wait. Actually, unstable is pretty bad.
Unfortunately, I don't know anymore. You're gonna have to go in blind, Harry. But she's an old lady. How dangerous can she possibly be? Oh, and she calls herself the Pigs.
There it is again. The Pigs. Like Roy said, not good at all.
I, for one, find it refreshing. Finally, someone calls themselves a pig.
It actually sounds extremely bad, but let's not give him the satisfaction.
I already have. Tonight, starting 10 o'clock, near the old fish market on the coast. The one on the boardwalk, a little past the fishing village. Be careful, Harry. I would never set you up for anything dangerous, but you did ask for this. Now, back to the fun stuff.
She will be there from 2200 hours till 0200 hours.
More fun stuff. Seems like we already have fun stuff to do.
We're way past specific union members now. This is the big time. We're talking about the future of Revachol here, Harry. You can bother Leonard with that. He loves to run his mouth on such matters. But I'm in big-time mode, Harry.
There's something different about him now. He's more vibrant, more alive in his big-time mode.
Harry, by now you should know I would never do anything tricky like that. However, if the construction noise and limited street access makes some people consider moving, well, let's just say there'll be freshly renovated buildings near the roundabout where those poor people can finally enjoy a significant uptick in quality of life. I'm talking real affordable workers' palaces.
He proudly spreads his hands to demonstrate the size of the palaces. They're very large.
So the village is doomed.
You were there, you saw the place. A wasteland. There's nothing left. But mark my words, officers. We are going to reset it. Reset. I have big plans for Martinez, and they do not include humans living in those pig sheds on the coast. That land will be used for municipal buildings and commerce. Harry, imagine a youth centre supermarket church complex, employing hundreds, no, thousands of people. The coast will be lit up with enterprise and life. All those ruins out there turned into low-income housing. Harry, enough is enough. We're taking this district back. The war was 50 years ago, for God's sake. It's time to move on. Yes, I do. I got the centre, I got room for a retail complex, and in 4 years, I'll get the church too. The wheels are already turning, Harry. The wheels of progress. This post-war limbo, I won't stand for it. There are kids practically playing with their own feces out there. It cannot go on.
There is true indignation in his voice when he speaks about the state of things, and even a touch of pain. The pain is true. He's seen kids do worse than that. And then there will be a giant statue of him towering above it all.
I'm not a symbolist, Harry. I'm a realist. My statue will be Martinez rebuilt. 5-story building complexes, kids off speed, and landowners in a zone hating me. That will be my statue. And yours. We're doing this together.
You would look nice as a statue.
Damn right I'm up to something, Harry. I'm gonna make the working man as rich as Joyce Messier. That's my job. Just like yours is to keep the peace.
A true flash of anger in him, as he thinks of her.
Great, Harry, great. I think we have truly built a bridge between Martinez and Jamrock today. We have united the RCM and the Debarders Union. This has been so great. I'm sorry we don't have more fun things to do together, but if you ever feel like bouncing something off me, my door is always open. I'm always happy to... Very nice. Most certain. By all means, Harry. Ah, yes. Your side investigation. Thank you. You've got some spirit clearing up phony drug accusations alongside this murder. I'll talk to the mayor and see if I can get you the key to the city, Harry. Now let's talk real business.
Actually, Rivershell doesn't have a mayor. He refuses to discuss it further. It's probably just a small nuisance to him. Not even a speck of anger in his voice. That's that then.
I don't know what that means, Harry, but I love it. I love your initiative. Knowing you're out there keeping things running lets me focus on the big picture stuff. Don't even tell me what was going on. Alcoholic brew, stronger, stopped it, strike. I'm just gonna let you surprise me, Harry. Mr. Dubois, every worker, member of the board.
Oh, hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. No trouble at all, mister. No trouble at... Mr. Everett doesn't really want me to talk to people about union guys. But who did you want to talk about? Mr. Edgar is Mr. Everett's brother. He looks a bit younger, he does. But a very smart fellow. Very smart fellow indeed. He's away on some union business. Not even in Revershaw, they say. All kinds of places he visits. Him and his brother both do when they're on a vacation. Right now, it's Mr. Everett's turn to look after the union. But last year he spent a whole winter in South Africa. Left with the first autumn rains and didn't come back before the trees were green again.
South Safari. A lot of bulk chemical manufacturing going on there. A lot of cargo shipments being made too. The trade must have been lucrative for the trip to be so long.
He's a union man through and through. Good guy. He's very calm, laid back, doesn't do much, talks to Everard sometimes. Honestly, I don't know what he does for us, but it must be important because everybody likes him. Yes, they do. I think that's what he does. He makes everyone feel a little better.
Oil for the wheels. Much needed in stressful times like these.
Whoa, he's really something. He doesn't talk much to me usually, but when he does, I don't really understand most of what he's saying. Actually, I don't think he would like me running my mouth about him like that. Once he said he's a dragon to this mob fellow who came picking a fight with some Union men. I think he really believes Jean-Luc was a dragon because he ran right off. Another time he almost killed another guy, but I shouldn't talk about that.
That's precisely what he is. Everard's dragon.
Who do you mean, mister?
You do realize he might just be a figment of your imagination, right?
I don't know anyone like this, mister. Maybe he's one of Mr. Everard's fancy friends. He knows all kinds of fancy people with suits and purdy carriages.
He really feels very uncomfortable discussing matters related to Everard with you.
Oh, Titus is a longshoreman through and through. He was born on a boat, they say. His veins are probably filled with salt water, I tell you. Nice friendly sort, old Titus is.
He's probably one of those rare specimens who are born when two drunk seamen stumble on top of each other on the deck amidst a storm so violent it flings whales around.
I'd best not. I mean, I could, but I don't think Mr. Everard would like it very much. You better ask him yourself, mister. The Night Guard. Ooh, he's a peculiar fellow. He's the strong, silent type, you could say. We talk all the time, but I don't really know much about him. He plays petanque with my old human studies teacher, Mr. Martin, down at the plaza. I think he's the only fellow who actually knows old Renee. They lived on the same street their entire lives, even dated the same girl on and off for as long as I can remember. Mr. Martin, yes. Don't really remember much about him. I was just a boy back then.
Mr. Martin, Gaston also taught history and human studies to the Clear brothers.
Sure.
Yes? What do you want to know? Good. What about me? Good. Let's...
It is such a pleasure to see you again. Sweet, sweet, of course. Sure, officer.
Vigilance, officer.
Oh, hello, dear. There you are again. Goodness, how is he? Did he say why he hasn't returned yet?
He's fine, ma'am. As we had suspected, he couldn't get back earlier because the water lock on the canal was broken. Now he's just finishing up some work.
Oh, yes. That's my Morel. He's bound to catch a cold staying out there for so long. But I am so relieved to hear that he's okay. Thank you for putting an old woman's heart at ease, if even a little.
You haven't, however. There are dangers out there. Our aging body's foul. Her heart won't rest until Morel is safely back with her.
Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings.
Reflexively, the lieutenant read his familiar notebook.
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. When, all of a sudden... I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5.5 in Betancourt in the suburbs. My grandmother had a summer home there.
She'd just started forming memories. Real memories. Not the billowy haze of infanthood. Betancourt got bombed in the war. It used to be quite near, circa 20 kilometers from here.
The strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I've never seen anything like it.
She had no fear, just surprise.
I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved, swaying, towering above me. After a while, 20 seconds, a minute maybe, it left, went into the reeds. I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there knee-deep in mud, looking around me.
Where did you go? Don't go.
I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen. For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys. That sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morel. We were on our first date when I told him my story. You should have seen his face. He said my descriptions matched the phasmid down to a T. Its white marble limbs, the way it moved.
So that's how they met. This is beyond significant for them.
Our first, yes.
The sigh is tender. The sigh is tender, yes, but tempered by something else. A thought she can't express.
Not all of them, as far as I remember. Some of them, on the inside like stalks of marble, if that makes sense. It's hard to say how big things are when you're quite small yourself. To me, it seemed to be taller than I was then, but that's probably not the case.
What if it is the case?
Of course. I've thought about it. But Morel says my report matches with the others. And I'm sure I hadn't heard of the phasmid as a child. Nor had my mother or my grandmother. So how did I know what to imagine? It was only when I started telling my story as a teenager that boys would tell me, "Lena, you trying to tell us you saw the Insul Indian phasmid out there in those reeds? Get out of here." They just give me a cider and ruffle my hair and tell me to stop dreaming. But I saw it.
I thought it was a wonderful story, man.
But I don't believe it. A child left unattended on a warm day. Children make up stories and then end up believing them.
You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one. It was just such an impossibly sunshiny day. So warm.
And she could get up and walk right into the reeds on her own. Into the mud. Anywhere.
Again? I can't...
Yes? What is it? It means I'm a patrol officer, sir.
What was with that, sir? She's a woman. That's how women speak to men. With respect. Something is seriously wrong with you. It might be because you have the higher rank.
Well, I guess I.
Cut the shit. Every second you stand here running your mouth, the case grows colder.
Hi again, gendarme. Bye-bye, gendarme.
The Coppernado is back. What do you want? Yeah? Anything.
Can I help you? What is this thing? Okay, well, this is actually a nice bird. A competent piece of taxidermy. Well, I can fix it to the plaque and have a new bird in the establishment, I guess? So, I don't know. Thank you. I'm gonna go with thank you.
People just don't know how to accept gifts, especially taxidermy. He likes it. He likes the bird. It solves his broken bird problem. This was mostly about the fucking cardio. Massive cardio here. You'll live till 90, or you get a heart attack from running.
I feel good about our work here today. It's all about the little things, like bringing people random stuffed animals.
It's not actually about that, but he liked it.
No, you don't. It's not happening.
He tries not to look at you. It's dangerous to acknowledge the karaoke man. You need to approach this situation logically. Ask him why he has the PA system installed if you can't use it.
It's for no one. It's a prop. I'm not letting anyone use it after the great karaoke catastrophe of 44. A lot of people got killed because some arsehole wanted to sing karaoke. It's not for bands, it's for clients. Some clients, okay? Not you. Ha! Well, we don't have any tapes. They all got stolen.
He's lying, but whatever. You don't really need his lame tracks. The man in the vest and the violet shirt stares at the tape you've just given him. He begins to frown. Hard. This is the look of a man who's defeated. He knows he's out of excuses.
Fine. Climb on that stage and do your thing. Just get out of my hair. I'll plug it in for you. Damn this karaoke machine.
I'm having it uninstalled, he mumbles to himself. Oh yeah, time to do the damage. The stage is all set up for your performance. Feels silent. You can hear the pellets creak under your feet. You feel a little dizzy, a little unsteady suddenly.
So, are you ready for your thing now? Let me know when I should turn on the karaoke carousel.
I can see that.
Immediately, a loud feedback noise startles the room. You feel like an amateur. How are you supposed to hold the mic? Should you just sing into it? Where should you stand? Hands. Where do you put your hands? Does someone feel like throwing up? I do. A little. There are some people out there, but mostly a post-meridian slumber has fallen on the premise. Not super lively. It would be wiser to perform in the evening, no? But the choice is yours. Yes, you could always do it in the evening. It will be less scary with a lot of people. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
As always, it's DJ Mesh and Felicio, and you're listening to Street Freaks FM, bringing you the hottest, the nastiest, the most vulgar.
A flock of seagulls takes off nearby, startled by the roaring radio. Right away, the lieutenant reaches into the cabin and turns off the radio. He's not looking at you as he says,
Someone must have been messing with the radio, or maybe picked up a random frequency. You wanted a prime line, right?
He's still avoiding your gaze, and his ears glow red.
Oh, is that what it was called?
Go for it. Turn the radio back on while it's still on the Speed Freaks FM.
Souped up motor carriage for one bad mama's boy. For the heavier foot and the freakier.
God damn it! Look, it helps me to stay alert on long nights, okay? It's a method. I'm not some kind of speed freak or... You would be too if you had this motor carriage. But seriously, let's quit joking around, alright? We have a case to investigate.
This is Precinct 57. Can I connect you to someone? Just a moment, officer.
10-4, come in, officer. Over. 10-4, sir. Sorry, but I'm under orders to give a negative to request for personal information. Over. 10-4. Orders are still orders. Anything else? Over. Roger that. 10-10, over and out.
As you tap on the gauge.
No, that's enough fun with the foldable headlights. I know they are mesmerizing. They are also fragile. I'm not going to turn it on for you again.
Typical Martin. Street lights like this one.
Excellent choice. I'm almost sad to part with it. It is quite heavy. You're going to need a truck. That's all right. I can keep it here for you until you find one. It's no problem. Come back any time to look at it. It's your sort of street light now.
A wise investment, I agree. The best part is that you can't carry it around. I would really dislike it if you could.
Hello. Let me know if I can help you.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone. He can't be more than 5 years old. The other one looks indistinguishable from him. He watches his brother kick the stone with his tongue lolling out of his mouth.
What bad people?
I don't think questioning 4-year-olds without their parents present is gonna crack the case.
Then we're definitely doing it. The kids don't reply, absorbed in their little game.
Yes. Yes.
The stone-kicking one becomes frantic all of a sudden, as if that's something to be scared of. The obvious fact that you just stated.
He looks just like me.
The boy doesn't answer. His brother throws another rock. Both of their hair is covered in some kind of dirt. The rock kicker was just being shy, but now he's enthusiastic again.
You're bad with kids. Maybe I am. Now, how about some actual police work? We are not getting anything here.
Tequila sunset. Of course. Drink first, story later. Not much, but it will do.
Hey, Spiral Boy, you gonna share that?
Shut up, guys. I'm telling a story here. Something happened to you. Something happened to me, too. My actual name is George. But around here, you already know. I was once a reasonably high net worth individual. A founder/junior partner at a high-concept creative services agency. When my story begins, I had just landed a major contract with an insurance firm. I used the profits from my agency to finance what I called a cultural incubator. Abstract value generation, value per person, high-concept stuff. I developed the paradigm, worked within the paradigm, but the burden of leadership weighed heavily on me. So I went jogging every so often to keep myself sane. 22 full-time employees, an all-star team, a potentially historical set of individuals. Worrying about them often kept me up well into the morning hours. It did. With my trusty Saint-Saëns tracksuit, I felt like I could conquer the world. But now dreams are worn thin, much like my tracksuit. One day I left on my evening run. As you may know, it's impossible to clear your head when you're distracted by the sound of keys jangling in your pockets.
He's right. It's incredibly annoying. His eyes are clouded, his dilated blood vessels encircling his irises like stinging brambles. His eyes are your eyes.
So I removed the key ring and put the keys for the front gate and the apartment into different pockets to stop the jangling, you see. At least, that was the plan. I was halfway done with my usual lap when it started to rain. The reality situation became very wet, very quickly. Wet, okay? It was raining really hard. I made my way back home and discovered that I didn't have the key to the front gate. I'd mixed it up with the key to the letterbox, which was useless. Naturally, the situation required me to climb over the gate, which I did. There was no climbing down because I slipped and landed on my ass. Ouch, indeed. Reality was looking rather grim just then. Me lying on my ass in a mud pit in the middle of a heavy shower. But when life knocked me down, I always got up. So I made my way across the yard. Standing in front of my apartment door, fumbling with my pockets, I realized that I'd also forgotten my apartment key. I wish I were, Tequila. I wish I were. Instead of my apartment key, I'd taken the key to the office. I rang my neighbors' buzzers. It was late, and most of them didn't even answer. Those who did assumed I was trying to sell them something and hung up before I could even explain the situation. People are naturally wary of ad men, you see. One moment someone chats you up, 5 minutes later you've bought a box of edible lingerie and a strap-on. I don't begrudge them, especially since I was known to be one of the best.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Just then, I experienced a moment of clarity. I still had the key to my office. I could wait out the storm there. But when I reached my office, I remembered that I'd asked one of my producers to change the locks that day. And since I hired only the best, he'd already done it, and I couldn't get in. Anyway, long story short, life spiraled out of control. I haven't gotten into my apartment for years, and my girlfriend left me because she didn't want to date a homeless man. The company, well, you see where I'm going with this.
He pinches his thigh as if to check whether this reality is the reality.
So, now you've heard my tragic tale. What do you think? Like nothing you've ever heard, huh? Yeah, maybe I've exaggerated certain parts over the years. When you tell a story too often, it begins to take on a life of its own. But what matters is that it's true to my subjective experience. Anyway, that was all the story one bottle gets you. Almost empty, this one.
Truly, he has the soul of an artist.
good fucking question, Tequila. If I knew the answer, you think I'd be hanging out on a beach in this formerly premium but now extremely dirty two-piece Lycra tracksuit? I used to own my reality situation. My business buddies and I had our own creative services agency. I had a nice apartment, an even nicer piece of ass. But somehow it all got away from me. Now I can't hang on to anything. Just last week I stole this nice new jacket, but then I lost it too. The only things I haven't lost are these two drunks.
You of all people should empathize with this. Perhaps this lost jacket is something you could help with?
My agency, man. The Boom Boom Room. Our concept was combining high art with the lowest forms of marketing. The color red, breasts, and oil painting. I convinced my partners to reinvest some of our profits in an even more high-concept cultural incubator called Thin Air. The artists were happy, the clients were happy. I was financing a group of poets in East Revachol who were developing a new universal poetic language. But then it all went to shit.
If it sounds like it makes no sense, that's because it doesn't.
Well, you know, sex sells. That's the first rule of advertising. That's what's so cool about advertising. It's kind of like art, except you can also get fucking rich doing it. What? You've never seen 100% Lycra before? Go on, feel that primo material.
You really shouldn't touch it.
That might be the right idea. This here is one of the last of its kind. Should probably be in a museum, honestly. Can't get it anymore. It was too primo, even for grog.
By primo, he means possibly carcinogenic. Lycra, TM, was a synthetic fabric developed by manufacturers in the middle 40s. Notable mainly for the swishy sound it makes as the wearer passes by. It's also known to become extremely itchy if not properly cared for.
Wow, you're lucky. He never lets me feel it.
That's because your paws are fucking filthy, Rosemary. We're right next to the bay. You could wash them any time. My fellow members of the Union of Moribund Alcoholics? They're exactly what they look like.
Hey, tequila! You want to buy some speed?
Shut the fuck up, Rosemary. He's a cop, remember?
I thought he was a cool cop.
A gurgling sound comes from the direction of the non-responsive man.
And yeah, you're already acquainted with abs. So yeah, that's basically us. We drink together. Tequila, it's a verifiable tragedy. It was practically brand new. Sure, it didn't really go with my Lycra threads, but it did itch a lot less. Say, you're a detective, right? Maybe you can help old Doom Spiral out. Solve the case of the missing jacket. What do you say, Tequila? Nah, this isn't it. Faun, that's medium concept stuff. Totally not my style. It's a big world out there, Tequila. Lot of lost jackets in it. Don't know why you'd think this could possibly be mine.
Hey, Doom Spiral. Ain't that the jacket you stole the other week?
Not on your fucking life, Rosemary. What's wrong with you people? Like I'd be caught dead wearing Faun, like some low-concept bicycle courier. Tell you what, Tequila. Why don't you just hang on to that one? I'll get another jacket. Someday.
At least you got a nice jacket for your troubles.
I do. But as you can see, my fuel tank is running quite low. If you catch my drift. Cottonmouth is keeping my tongue imprisoned. What's in a name?
Hey, Spiral Boy, you gonna share that?
Oh, shut up. I was once a reasonably high, so you don't.
Okay, let's step it. I've been meaning to have a little chat with you about your sense of style. It's just, well, you look more like a high-flying businessman than a police officer.
That's right. You're an entrepreneur of the peace, here to disrupt legacy law enforcement with buzzwords and privatization schemes.
There's nothing wrong with it per se. It's just a little much. You know the expression, the clothes make the man? The right outfit in the right situation can make all the difference in the world. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Detective.
A warm smile.
Anyway, we should probably get back to the case. Let's go.
Hi, officer.
Factory balanced. Bakelite and stainless steel.
Anything I can help you with?
You've graduated to Lawbringer now?
Men with authority have their quirks. Comes with never being second-guessed about anything. So what brings you here, Lawbringer? A fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Elysium. The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place. The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker.
Indeed, you're always confused as to your whereabouts. Ask her about the cool sword. Helps to break the ice.
Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of story. It's to intimidate folks, mostly. Not really. I know some basic moves, and I know it sure as hell beats a knife when you're in a tough spot.
But not when you're in a tight spot.
It's a regular mass-produced sword, like a shovel or an axe. Nothing fancy, just for intimidation. From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught the eyes of many men. And believe me, men need a lesson in manners from time to time. What makes you think we haven't? The truth is that almost everyone in this life is scared and tired and stupid and too dull for that. That goes for men too. But they put on an act for us. Pretend like everything's good and living in shit doesn't bother them. Like anyone falls for that.
That does not go for real men. It does not go for you. Show her. Show her the wonder. Coach means the expression. Not bad.
Sure. It looks as if you could face down any horror in the world with that same unchanging grin. It's like a shield.
The traces of her laughter are still there, in her eyes, fading fast.
No, I'm afraid not. Tempting to confiscate the blade I used to keep these animals in check. It would put me in an early grave.
She refuses, but your word is the law. You are law. She's making a joke. Her voice softens. Is she flirting with you? A little? You think she might be.
Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others were more thick-headed. And one of them, I ended up marrying. Guess I enjoyed the way he bled.
If it is, then why the melancholy?
Gone.
The harbour seawall endures the wash of the freezing waves. Many things wash up against it and onto the beaches of Rivershore. Some inanimate, some just no longer alive. You shudder.
To the waves. The sea took him. It was a long time ago. He didn't respect the sea, Went out there drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day the boat was found floating empty. The bloated corpse turned up 2 weeks later. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago, and I've moved on. There's only so much mourning you can do for a drunk with sinewy muscles.
She really liked those muscles, though. It's in the way she pronounces sinewy.
Us working folk don't have the luxury to be bedsick with melancholy. I buried him, mourned for an appropriate amount of time, and went on. Life didn't really change that much for me and the kids.
This is neither a touchy nor a very interesting topic for her. She looks like she's ready to go on a date with another, better drunk. Ask her. Both of you could need some action.
Sure is. The sun, I call her, coated with a fresh layer of tar just yesterday. It'll take some time for it to dry, assuming the sunny days continue. Aye. Sunny days. You got a problem with that?
No, ma'am. We have no quarrel with sunny days.
Good. It would have been bad news had it turned out it wasn't a sunny day. Bad news for the skiff, bad news for the nets, bad news for the kids.
There's a moment's silence. She looks at the slushy snow melt on the yellow belly of the boat.
Shot, huh? The boat will be ready when the sea turns and the winds settle. You can't command the weather, officer.
Waves wash the sand. A skiff moves across the mirror-smooth sea, far away from here. A lone passenger, a fast sloop in the distance. White sails. My prediction, it will be at least 2 days.
Like I said, fish mostly. Sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff. Sometimes I also walk to the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises.
Keep it professional, man. Don't make it sound like you're hitting on her. This is what is called a conversation. You don't have to be guarded right now.
Wood, pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once. Bottles, drugs also. Lost cargo in general. Most of the time it's just wood and glass.
All right. Major choice moment. You only get to ask one thing. It would be weird to say them all. Choose wisely. Mines. Mines. You need mines.
And go where? The fish are plentiful here and we get enough orders to get by. It's not great, but it's something. People imagine picking up and finding something better is an easy solution. But how is that supposed to work when all your time and energy goes to staying alive? You have almost nothing to set aside to actually fight your way out. I don't mean to complain about my pauper life. We are warm and fed here and... I don't know. There's just something about this shithole.
A sudden gust of cold air blows in from the sea. The waves flow and ebb. Around you, the fishing village takes its slow and steady breaths. Its many wooden structures, worn by bitter years of salt and storm. Its home. You think she really needs more of that after a man died at sea? What if I told you it is actually possible to go on a date sober? Before recorded history, men and women were able to do simple, very primitive things together sober. Acknowledge the situation and keep it basic.
I have, and I don't really.
Now, go for it. You just want to go for a walk. What kind of a monster doesn't want to go for a walk? Walks are innocent. Walks are fucking great cardio. Very stable fat burner. aerobic exercise.
Just a walk? I don't know, officer. I would not have taken you for an innocent perambulator. Where would this walk take us, officer?
Nothing creepy, strange, or out there. Keep it eerie and simple. Creepy? What is this, kink shaming?
Officer, I thought we had a work of our own in mind. One that results in a solved murder investigation.
Oh no. You, come with us. Seriously, I insist. You need to understand that nothing is going to happen. We're just walking. That's it. Understood?
Having the lieutenant along is a fail-safe measure against any possible funny business.
I guess I can come along for a quick stroll. I mean, if the ma'am insists, of course.
I'm really sorry.
I do, yes. Stroll on the beach sounds nice, doesn't it? All right, I'll see the kids haven't killed each other and we'll meet at Land's End in 15 minutes?
She doesn't wait for an answer. You better get ready. Motorway south. The lone vector stretches in your mind's eye into the wild pale yonder, for an unimaginable distance, forgetting, until you can no longer remember anything. No cities, no mountains, no oceans, and finally, no vector. Nothing remains. A blank space with no point of reference, where only one type of motion is possible. The motion of a human throat, swallow in, and then it comes to you. To reach the end of the motorway south is to be unborn. You've had this thought before, while aimlessly wandering the streets of Jamrock. A lost piece of the man you were. A dark hope. There's something feral crouched between the rocks. Something primal. Something forbidden. Back away, very slowly. There, by the water. Intriguing. Winter, slow to let go of Revachol. Flecks some more wet snow from above. The snow falls lazily, making the beach sand paler still, mixing with the rust-colored sewage runoff. And to think, it seemed as though it were already spring. The melting snow seeps through your thin clothes. Grandmothers don't let their grandchildren out dressed so lightly in this weather. At least your hair is protected from getting wet and sticking together. You look around. More winding coastlines lined with abandoned buildings. Crumbling piers, salt water lapping at their dark piles. Grey and red forgotten city blocks. what remains of the pre-revolutionary effort to gentrify the coast. The waters turn black, coal city in the shadow of Saint-Martin, a boom town. Back when coal extracted from countless shafts near the city was needed to power Revachol. No more. The coal was supplanted by petroleum from the ocean floor and hydropower from the Espérance. Everything crumbled. These days, only the weakest remain in Coal City. Their hopes of getting rich linger in the defunct shafts under their feet. Below the old mines, l'Océan Municipal, Revachol's underground cemetery. Le Petit Rat braved the underground passageways, trying to get to Le Royaume. Children under 14, they go underground looking for artifacts to sell to foreign museums, and for fabled relics. Their parents let them. They go deeper. After rubies, melchiorite, lapis lazuli, plundered from Safle and Seol during the time of the suzerain. In the burial chambers of the kings, Grand old Philip, Guillaume II, and even in the mausoleum of Philip the Opulent. 2 kilometers underground, in a winding shaft along whose walls mirrors have been placed, so that daylight may eternally fall upon the richest of all the kings. The mausoleum contains untold quantities of gold, and that special, purest of the pure magenta cocaine, favored by Revacholian royalty. Did someone say untold quantities of cocaine? Drop everything immediately and go looking for this hoard. How can it be pure if it's magenta? Snow falls, and there is no answer. Some things are not for mortals to know. Few Petit Rats return from the shafts. Even fewer find what they're looking for. A small child steps out of the black tunnel with silver trinkets in her pockets. All around her, white snow on the extinguished coke furnaces and on the weather-worn shacks where fathers beat their sons after drinking. The snow melts on your fingers, turning to water. The canal you crossed to get here and beyond it. Martinez proper, the district the police forgot to police. There is laughter, lights, attempts at entrepreneurial activity, cynicism. Someone is scraping snow off their windshield at the roundabout, in the midst of which a statue of Philip III serves as a destination for grade school field trips and a fine perch for winter birds. Like all monuments, it's also a warning. 6-story ruins on the south side of the roundabout cast a long shadow over the profligate king. A fenced-off yard. There's a truck belonging to a logistics company parked next to the gate. Bright light from a building behind the fence reflects off its hood. Clean white light coming from the windows of a clean cube-shaped office building hidden amidst ruins. A secret. The abandoned church, one of 2 remaining stave churches, which were collectively called Les Sept Sœurs. The other 6 sisters were destroyed during the Revolution. A serpentine strip of land weaving its way into the Martinez Inlet. Unfortunates on the run from the law, from themselves, sometimes hide out on nearby islets. Little dots in the ocean that are occasionally submerged when the tide is high and the weather foul. The remains of a camp on a jagged piece of rock, a tent, old dishes and cutlery, long since abandoned. A hermit crab scuttles among the debris, looking for a new shell. Further out, the lights burn bright on Resurrection. Way beyond Martinez, a popular spa destination for ample-bodied Ozon kids with equally ample pockets. Then there's Ozon, but the snow falls too thick. You cannot see that far. The Bay of Revachol, vastness, great depth, over 1,200 meters at its deepest. Water, air-brinier than hair. It is crisscrossed by huge cargo ships bearing company logos, wild pines, Zam, Maurien, and at the farthest reaches of the Bay of Revachol, the shadow of the Coalition warship Archer, on perpetual patrol duty, ready to unleash artillery fire if you were to rise up against the market. You shudder. The raised motorway 881, with vehicles whooshing past one another day and night, while those who reside beneath the motorway attempt to carry on with their lives in the snow and the slush. And south of the 881 is the Pox. Was once a park, a place for reflection and recuperation for the patients of the old military hospital. In the 20s, it was used as a quarantine center during a measles outbreak that killed many children. Most everyone has avoided the hospital and surrounding park ever since. The Pox is completely wild now. Evergreen thickets covered in snow and industrial dust. Feral dogs and even wolves roaming in packs. The police try to keep the deepest corners cordoned off. Heavy drug users do slip through and hole up in the old military hospital, hoping to find something to get high on among the hastily abandoned supplies, or just to overdose in peace. A line of motor garages with armored carapaces hunched in the cold. A mechanic is hard at work, patching up bullet holes in the side of a Capri 40. These are the garages of Precinct 41. Snow settles on the roof of the repurposed silk mill. It serves as your station. Shivering RCM personnel hurry in and out of the main entrance.
Wonder if Vic's found his heterosexual life partner yet.
Damn, I don't know. Even a real Bruderbund like that can't survive everything.
Around you, the snow continues to fall. To the west, the ocean swells. The stairs descend to central Jamrock. A man named Cooklove has a snow-covered stall there, in the market across the bridge. He sells kebab infested with fly larvae to your colleagues who believe eating it will make them immune to food poisoning. Snow falls on the utility district, the library, the florist, the Sarah Mauritian restaurant that offers homemade wine, and also on the brothels and drug dens and the chop shops of the Zemlyaki. All of this built around a lake that formed in a meteorite strike. At the center of this lake, there is a little ship. There are lights at the bottom of its hull. They are lights directed toward the seafloor, looking for something, like whiskers. A chill comes over you, crawling down your back. The sand under your feet is wet. Somewhere in the south, tarpaulin flap in the wind. Near, snow falls into dark water. She prays, though she doesn't believe. There is a hum in the air. That's all. Layer upon layer of sand, poisoned with industrial runoff, the storm drainage, hidden bunkers. Rats scuttle. Someone stuffed a big old polar anorak into a concrete pipe under the boardwalk. It would keep you warm. You would probably never happen across it, but who knows?
We should keep moving. Who knows when the snow will let up?
familiar apparatus lies among the reeds sway in the coastal breeze. They seem to be waiting for something. The wind picks up here, near the cape's end, surrounding the narrow strip of land from 3 cardinal directions. This trap is also full of panicked locusts. No sign of any cryptozoological beast inside.
Another empty trap. Always up for a good job. Otherwise, would I still be on this case with you?
Steadily at the waves. A sudden gust picks up her dark hair and lets it fall again, tousled, wild. She brushes a few stray locks from her eyes, and only then spots you approaching.
Aye, so here you are. It's late and the sun is going down. It'll be dark soon. If we stay here long enough, we will be joined by a cortege of drunks and teenagers. Know that you're not the first guy to bring a girl to Land's End. This is what the locals call a make-out spot. That is not going to happen here today. I just want to make that clear, Dimples.
Her thoughts are still elsewhere, with distances across the water, and with the water itself. Across the rusty water, that's La Delta, the financial district. In the mist-covered distance, towers rise as a rebuke to the poverty of this coast. Keeping a tactful distance, the lieutenant takes out his notebook, demonstrating complete disinterest in your date. Don't be fooled. He's watching you to make sure you don't act unprofessionally.
Drinking men aren't known for keeping their appointments. Aye, you're the starriest of them all.
Her laughter is throaty and warm. It rhymes with the waves and the cries of the gulls. As she turns to face the sun, reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay, you cannot help following her steady gaze. You should say something, anything. Maybe the tequila sunset thing.
It's a common Revacholian expression. Means drinking yourself to death. So, are you going to keep the name? Well then, Officer Dubois.
The remains of the dying sun are reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay. Your mind clears for a moment as your senses take it all in. Not just the glass skyscrapers, fragile looking in the shimmering air. River Esperance flowing into the bay.
Isn't it strange for this all-powerful thing, the sun, to be so generous towards us? You know, the best time to go out fishing is usually towards sunset, when the water is warmer.
The sun also falls on the Capeside tenements and war-torn ruins. An old sea fortress juts out, seemingly impervious to the sheen cast over everything else, shaking you out of your reverie. The sun does little for the dead, and those hopelessly lost in their own minds, or people living in desert climates with sparse vegetation and little drinking water.
Oh, that was a bit of pride and a bit of superstition.
And a bit of conceptual unity too, it being yellow and all.
Now you're just nitpicking. But I concede. Maybe desert people sometimes disagree.
There's salt in the air, and the cries of the gulls and the skuas. Grit of the sand and the green glint of broken bottles. But still your gaze always returns to the dazzling streaks of light, wherever they may be reflected, their fading opulence.
It's bringing us spring, summer, is entirely on our side, no matter what we do or who we are, for absolutely no reason. It's unlike no other powerful being, certainly no powerful organization or government. How can that be? I guess we wouldn't really be here if that thing wasn't on our team.
You would be incinerated, or worse. Maybe some general remarks before you say something big. Work your way up to the cool.
These aren't real fishhooks, silly. They're earrings shaped to look like fishhooks. A drunk called Rosemary brought them to me. I kept them.
She's right. They're made mostly of plastic. A cheap novelty gift you can buy from a flower shop or a kiosk. The wind ruffles her hair as she looks at the setting sun.
Thank you. I'm half Ubi. My mother was from Ubi Sunt. Not a lot of sun there, I hear, though I've never been.
The wind ruffles her hair as she looks at the setting sun.
It's enough that my fish goes there. 50 real a piece they ask for spring cod.
Out on the terrace of La Fruit de Fond, a hip business lunch spot in downtown La Delta, glasses clink over a spread of oysters. Someone can't decide what to eat. Someone recommends a ceviche. Someone shields her eyes, trying to see across the bay. Here we go. 2 different approaches to cap this off with style.
Aye. And a benevolent one. When did you last have one of those on your side? Well, now you have that giant thing to watch over you. So, to hell with love. You know, the wind's gonna pick up soon, and I have to go, but have this. The sun's good, but it doesn't stick things. I've no. Men around here are too drunk to pose a threat to me.
The lieutenant looks at the sword with distrust in his eyes. Do not bring it into a gunfight, he thinks. Please understand, it's merely ceremonial.
Doubt it. But thank you for the company.
This is as far as it goes with her. You'd need to put a year between you and your last drink for anything more.
Farewell.
As she walks off, the wind picks up, and the light from the sun seems to fade. The crumbling silhouette of failed electrical R&D towers in the distance, beckoning.
I hope this has been refreshing for you, Detective. Let's return to our search with a fresh pair of eyes.
Fairweather T500. Remember that weakness you were looking for in the ceramic armor? Like, maybe it can only stop small, fast projectiles, but a large, slow-moving pry bar would shatter it? Or, if I run an electrical current through it, maybe it will melt. Or, personal favorite, frequency something something radio weapon? None of that would work. You need to shoot the part of the enemy that doesn't have Fairweather T500 on it, because the armor itself is invulnerable. Good news is, so are the armor pieces on you. An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle.
It's military. A service depot of some sort. The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
It may have been used to serve as an aerostatic battleship in the atmosphere, or a fortification, like a sea fort in the bay.
From here to the whirling, I can't see how. The church is in the way.
There is no success. You didn't succeed here. It's impossible. The door does not open. It is not only locked, it is jammed shut.
We don't get in there. Frankly, you're just going to have to accept the fact that you can't get in through every single door.
No. We've gotten into every door thus far. That's what we do. We open doors. We're cops. That's our perk. Even Everard knew that's a part of our MO.
Yeah, I understand you. I like opening doors as much as the next guy. But this one is simply beyond repair and we don't have the resources needed to open it. Relax. No one's hiding in there. If we can't open it, others can't either. And thus they can't get in.
At least you can think about opening it. About doors in general. They are, after all, fundamental to your life. Perhaps something useful would come from this. An old door, worn by